one of the things that we would always talk with any of our clients, and still to this day, as one of the most important things that they need to do immediately to transform their health is to clean up their air quality and they clean up their water quality. And it's very difficult for people out there to find. There's so many different types of HEPA filters and air purification systems and all that, that it's extremely confusing. It's like right now people are confused about what to do and what to take for, everything that's going on in the world. So I definitely recommend air water healing. And I used to actually 20 something years ago recommend the Alpine unit. So, it's very difficult to find somebody like your company, which has the dedication to not only air purification, but water and giving people good supplementations. But more importantly than that is the commitment to individuals' health and training and the love and the energy that you guys put behind everything. So thank you for that. The lung health, if you look at the statistics, and we look at the statistics of what's happening in people's lungs, and why is it so important that people continue to cleanse their lungs right now? Well, we have a massive amount of geoengineering projects that are going on right now, which they're seeding the skies with barium and over like 36 different types of chemicals that they're spraying on us from the air. You have massive pesticide use, even in big cities, by the way. They're going around spraying glyphosate and atrazine every single day on all the city lawns and stuff like that. It doesn't matter. Yes, it's way better if you're out in the country. Of course, you can keep your windows open and you can breathe some of that fresh air. Mold, like you said, is like 6 to 10 times worse indoors than it is outdoors.
Correct.
People are not breathing correctly. They're not taking the time because they're under amount of stress. They're not doing some really good deep breathing exercises and exercising their lungs because they're becoming shallow breathers. So we take 30,000 breaths a day. Out of those 30,000 breaths that we take every single day, I would say that there's a good percentage of chemicals and toxins and volatile organic compounds that we're breathing in. And when you breathe stuff in, that's a mechanism of action to where it goes straight into your bloodstream. So everything works in unison with each other. The amount of chemicals and toxins you're breathing in, the amount of chemicals and toxins you're eating or drinking, the amount of chemicals and toxins that you're putting on your skin that are absorbing into your system. So air quality is so important. And that's why we developed the lung health formula, because lung health was designed to stimulate the cells in the lungs for reproduction. It's designed to bind to any type of chemicals or toxins that could be in the lungs. And it's designed to support the lungs and the alveolar sacs and regenerate those using of different types of blends of herbs. So we know, because of all the research we've been doing over the last 20 years, that they're really trying to attack the respiratory system, because the respiratory, anything you do with the respiratory, like I said earlier, is very important, goes directly into the bloodstream. So yes, they might be putting mRNA, they might be doing toxins and chemicals and all kinds of stuff in foods, but then you have the digestive process. It's a lot faster if they can target the lungs. And so that's why it's so important. And that's why I travel with my Shield Air all the time too, around my neck. And then sometimes I have to hide it, actually, because they'll come by and say, you can't have that in the plane. And so I'll have to, I've got all these unique ways to hide my Shield Air now in the planes. But recently, they haven't really been bothering me that much about it, but it's always good to be breathing clean air. I have the Triad Air systems in my home. I've got like 4 or 5 of them. We're putting more of them in our manufacturing. We're going to be putting some in our manufacturing facility, even though we have an advanced system very similar to the Triad, which was a customized photoionization system that we use in our manufacturing facility. And I think it should be number one or two priority that you have going on in your life right now, if you do not have, if you have old HEPA filters, or if you're using an air purification system that you bought where you're going to have to, buy the filters every 3 months or something like that to replace, it's worth it to just go with the best air systems out there and breathe clean air. Like you said, most people have pets. You have pet dander. Most people have pet dander in their home. Most people have mold and mildew in their home, especially if they live in the South. Most people have toxic chemical residue in their home. Most people are still cooking with Teflon pans in their kitchen, and they're breathing in all that PFOA, and they're breathing in all of those compounds and gases too. There's a lot of things that we breathe in, microparticles that you can't even see. Everybody has walked by a window before when the sun's coming through, and you can see like all those millions of particles in the sunlight.
Yes.
That's the stuff that you're breathing in all the time. People sleep on memory foam mattresses. They breathe in toxic fire retardants, bromine, stuff that outgasses from these VOC fire retardants that they're putting on your couches, your carpets, your mattresses. All this stuff is made from synthetic chemicals, and especially the air quality inside of our homes, at least in my experience, has been, pretty severe for people. So put it on the list instead of buying that new purse or those new shoes or that new car or whatever you're going to be, budgeting for. Maybe not go get a $6 toxic pesticide-ridden coffee every single morning and save that up for your air purification system. Because when you're breathing pure air, we talk about allergies. Most people right now that I know from age 4, even like children from age 1 month, all the way up into their adulthood, they're suffering from some form of allergies right now. And most of it's coming through the air, the water, and the food, and the things that they're exposing themselves to every single day. So
I'm in 100% agreement. It reminds me of the first thing that I had said to you about we trap ourselves unknowingly. We trap ourselves in with deadly toxic precision. You talked about the bromine, the flame retardants on the couch, the fibers in the carpet, the mattresses that are now. You can't one day wake up and say, I'm going to rip out everything in my house that's not organic. I'm going to rip out all of my drywall, and I'm going to put in jet board, and I'm going to use ozonated magnesium inside of my grout lines. You have to slowly start to realize that what they're doing is it is a slow kill. It's a slow kill. All of the stuff that they're doing to poison us, they pick the cheapest fabrics, the cheapest glues. You walk into, IKEA, these big box stores, they're not going for organic wood. They're not going and looking for wood that had been aired out. They want it the quickest and the fastest. Even the way they're growing these trees it's not done in a way of God. It's in a way of man who's trying to shorten the least amount of time. How can we put massive fertilizers in these wood fields, to where they're growing these mass operations of trees that, if you look at a tree from 100 years ago versus a tree that's grown now, even the little lines, showing you how old the tree is, it's just different. You could see all the stuff that they're pumping into the lumber to be able to go out. So the Triad Air is your first line of defense, to put something inside of the home to reverse what's already there, not what you're going to do. Because once you educate somebody, then moving forward, they can watch what they bring into their home. But what they've already brought in, we can be the first thing to help them combat that.
Yeah, there was a study done. I'm sure multiple studies that have been done, but they found that they went to 831 randomly selected households, and they found 84% of U.S. homes had detectable level of dust mite allergens in their bed. 84% of the homes. They went to multiple different areas. That's almost 90%. I think that study was done close to like eight or 10 years ago too. So who knows nowadays the amount, and that's just one airborne toxin. So if you have 90% of the homes in America that have dust mite contamination, that's just one of many, many, many things. And then you also have microorganisms that float around everywhere too. You have mold, mildew, different types of funguses, different types of single-celled organisms that can be floating around. It's amazing the amount of toxicity that we're consuming every single day through the air we breathe, the water we drink. I say the water we drink because everybody drinks coffee, they drink tea, they drink sodas, they go out to restaurants and drink stuff. Even drinking water in plastic water bottles that you think is spring water is toxic because it's full of inorganic minerals. And just the amount of the contamination in the food and everything that we're exposed to it's becoming harder and harder to find clean stuff. Now, I do recommend slowly, especially if you're going to start with air purification in your home and you want to budget it out, I always recommend people start in their bedroom because that's where you're sleeping and that's where you're going to be spending. Most people spend the most time in their home. Now, if you're working from home and you're spending 12 hours a day working from home, you want to have your air purifier where you're spending the most time.
Yes.
And you definitely, like if you're working in your home office for 10 hours a day, that's the number one place you should start. Most people, sleep for a lot of times. They're at work during the day. And by the way, you should have one in your office at work too. We're talking about the home, but what we need to discuss is where are you spending the most time? I even have the Shield Air in my car too, right in my my cup where I put my cup, and I can turn that Shield Air on in my car so I can breathe clean air in my car at the same time.
Yes. Yes. Well, I think what we're going to do too is I'm going to put together a couple packages for anybody who watches this podcast, whether they want. And again, it doesn't have to be about the money, right? That's why we created affordable single room. We've got the little plug-in units. We've got our IQ. We've got our mini, which is good for 100 all the way up to 250 square feet. You can plug that into a single room, bring it with you to an office. Not everybody's going to be able to pick this up and bring it with them going from home to office. We're going to put a couple special packages together, and then we're going to get this out there so people can know that they're coming after your lungs. You know, like you said, the quickest way to get into your bloodstreams isn't through the water and it's not through the food. It's through getting right into your lungs so it can enter your bloodstream. We've got to be able to stand up against the tyranny of what's being sprayed and what's being done against the vessel that is our body.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you have tons of reviews too, and I'm happy to help promote you. And very rarely actually do I get on and promote another company, but we've been doing due diligence with you guys for probably close to 2 years, maybe even a little bit longer than that. And it's nice to be able to collaborate with someone who really has the right intentions about healing people and healing the world. I'll let you know I'd like to read, if you don't mind, a couple of the reviews that we've gotten for lung health. There's one review that came in that basically said lung health saved my life. I started noticing trouble breathing about 4 years ago when chemtrailing was getting really bad. Sinuses were constantly blocked up, ran out of breath even after just walking. After 3 days on lung health and spewing out tons of mucus, I can breathe again. Took a long walk yesterday and felt like I could keep going. Awesome. Lung health really is a miracle. And then here's another one, Mother's Lungs. I've been buying this for my mother. She swears by this product. She feels that it's truly helping her to be able to breathe much better. She's 86 and will never get better. But if this makes her feel better, I will continue to send it to her. She loves the smell and it makes her feel better. Like, we have over 400 different 5-star reviews of people saying that they've gotten, and these are only the ones we can post. Like 80% of our reviews that come in, we're not even allowed to post because it mentions some sort of medical condition going away. But by utilizing, because by the way, we are recommending the air water healing air purifiers now. This is the video that I really wanted to do with the team so people could get a better understanding of what we're promoting, how this can help them. But it is just amazing that by using the lung health in conjunction with your state-of-the-art air purification systems, it really is the best solution. We've had people that have suffered from allergies, athletes that can end up, they use the lung health before a competition. Football, they have more air in the fourth quarter. So it really is a perfect match.
And could you really briefly just go into the what's the number one way to take lung health? I understand that if you're right before a football game, or if someone's got a breathing condition, or maybe they've got backed up with a little bit of mucus, how many sprays would you say for, let's say, an average adult? And when's the best time to take it? Should they take it in the morning? Should they take it on an empty stomach? What is your recommendation, or a general sense of what's the best time of day and how to take lung health?
So the lung health has organic peppermint in it. It has organic tulsi, everything that's really, really powerful in the perfect blend for people's lungs to work as an expectorant, but then also work to open up the alveoli so you can breathe and take in more oxygen, and then also to detox. It's got the mullein leaf in it. It's got the lemon balm. It's got the elderberry. It's got the orange peel, the lovage, even a little bit of menthol and peppermint essential oil in there too. What I like to do is when people sleep at night, because they might not have good air purification. They might not be sleeping the right way. They might be sleeping on their back. Who knows what all is in their bedroom that they breathed in the middle and all throughout the night. It works really good first thing in the morning to just, the way I do it is when I spray it, I breathe in at the same time. So I'll go like 6 sprays, breathe it into my lungs, and that's it. I'll always carry it with me too, just if I want to use it throughout the day, or if I'm, sometimes I'll do it once in the morning, then once mid-afternoon. You can also, if you are an athlete and you're going to be competing in something that's going to take a lot of energy, like a runner or something like that, or you're going to be doing a triathlon or biking, you can take it along with them. Like a lot of athletes professional athletes, they'll carry it with them on the sideline, and they'll put it in their little pouch and they'll use it. My brother is a trail runner. He does like 30-mile, 40-mile trail runs, and he swears by it. He keeps it in his little pack with him on the trail runs. And he says whenever he starts getting to the point where he needs more oxygen or wants to just enhance his lungs, he'll do 2 or 3 or 4 sprays, and it'll just keep him going and for a lot longer. So
that's incredible.
We have to remember that the lungs are one of the most important organs, right? Like I said, we take 30,000 breaths on average every single day. Can you imagine, like, what are you breathing in during those 30,000s? Can you imagine just the difference between using the lung health every day and having the Triad Air, all of the type of air purification systems that you guys have all around in your car, your office, your home, so you know that you're breathing pure air wherever you are, even when you travel. Like I travel and I bring that with me, and I'll even set up next to my bed your air purification system so I can breathe pure air in the hotel rooms where I'm staying.
Yeah. And the hotels is a whole nother story. Do not get me started on the air quality in hotel rooms. It is some of the, there was a study one time that was done by, I think it was like the New Yorker or Time Magazine. They had sent like 15 reporters to like different hotels, and it went anywhere. It went like from the Motel 6 to the Ritz-Carlton, like, from Park Street to Park Bench. And they swabbed the air conditioner. They swabbed the desk next to where the bed is. They swabbed the pillow, and then they swabbed like the mirror in the bathroom. And the stuff that came back was like, you would never want to stay in a hotel again. And they don't have time. They're burning and turning, man. Their whole priority isn't about cleanliness. It's about butts and beds. You check out at 11 and check in at 3. How do you clean 266 rooms in 4 hours? Not very well.
Well, they use super duper harsh chemicals for that too. And so, I mean, I've walked into hotel rooms before and just been like, oh my gosh, I've had a headache within like 2 minutes. and you can smell the chemicals that they're using in there. So they just go in there and they just spray these toxic chemicals, and their main concern is bed bugs in a lot of them. So they'll just, use pesticides. They literally use pesticides in hotel rooms. So we really need to start teaching people more about the air quality. I think it's the detoxification and the air quality that they're exposed to every single day is so important. You see amazing things happen when you start breathing pure, clean air.
Yeah, absolutely. I can imagine that we've got to get a couple of those guys that summit every year. We've got to get some of those Everest guys. We got to get them some bottles of lung health and say, hey, you've traveled up this mountain 4 or 5 times now. Take a bottle of lung health. I bet you that'll be incredible for someone who's enduring high altitude with, especially with the peppermint and the tulsi.
Yeah, exactly. The endurance goes way up with the lung health. So yeah, it's of course, it's always a good idea for everybody to take some time on their own and educate themselves about some of the shocking facts of air quality, and that can just take time. But with everything, that's always what all of us promote and teach is how to clean up your external environment, and that's going to be how to clean up your air quality. So if you don't have, and even if you do have some sort of air purification system in your home, I would highly suggest that you go to Air Water Healing, check out what they have over there. If you're going to be traveling, make sure that you get the portable units for your office, for travel, for your home, as much as possible. It's probably one of the most important things you can do in your life right now, considering the attack that we have on the air quality and the fact that we have gone from, let's say, 26% oxygen in our air down to 6% in some big cities right now. So when you combine so many different chemicals and toxins and release those into the air, the oxygen tries to do a good job. That's why we have storms and things like that with lightning, to where we can produce ozone and neutralize some of the chemicals in the air. But you almost need to do the same thing in your home. And that is, just make it a high priority. Look at your house, make it a high priority to start cleaning up your air and your water for that matter. But really, we're talking about air on this call. So you will notice when you start breathing pure, clean air, how much better you feel.
Absolutely.
And you're not, look, the money you're going to save, if anyone that's watching this has kids, I could pretty much guarantee that their kids are suffering, and they're taking their kids into, they're having chronic sinus issues, they're having coughing, they have chronic allergies. This is important because all of these allergies, or a good percentage of them, the doctors are not going to tell you when you take your kids in, wondering why your kid has sinus chronic infections, why their nose is running chronically, why they're having a difficult time sleeping, why they're snoring, why they're getting up in the morning coughing up a bunch of mucus, why they're having these chronic allergy conditions. The medical doctors that you're taking, these allergists that you're taking your kids to, they might say, oh, get a HEPA filter or something, but they have no clue about how to properly clean the air. And what happens is that the lungs are really associated with the gut too. When you start feeding a bunch of chemicals into the guts, it causes really hardcore sensitivity and allergies. Again, these chemicals are coming through the gut lining into the blood. They're coming through the lungs into the blood, and it's creating toxicity and sensitivities throughout the whole body. So think about somebody who's in a mold infested house, and they feed their kids all kinds of chemical-based, processed, nasty foods, which are burning holes in the intestines and going in. And at the same time, here they are breathing all this stuff in and accumulating all these chemicals and toxins in the system. Their bodies just they can't deal with it and break it down. And then you become hypersensitive and you start having allergies to all these things. By the way, I would say that air quality is responsible, has a big responsibility for the majority of, probably like 90% of the allergies people suffer from, sinus congestion, lung conditions, as well as eczema, psoriasis, any type of skin conditions too. Most of those are going to be because of the air quality in your home. And not only that, folks, every degenerative disease, every cancer, a good percentage of all these things and the toxicity that you're accumulating in your body is coming from the air you're breathing. So make it a priority to clean it up.
Yeah. I'll mention before we go, Dr. James Marsden and Alan Summersall, they had a book that was called The Fresh Air for Life. And this was like 2006 or 2007. And they had done a study, and they had put on like the first chapter, or the second chapter of the book, they had something like over 50% of all illnesses worldwide are caused or aggravated by polluted indoor air. And I remember reading that book, and I highlighted that section, indoor air, because where do we spend most of our lives, right? You know, whether you're a factory worker or you come home, and like you hit the nail right on the head when you said your bedroom is where you spend most of your life indoors. Because even if you get 8 hours, right, just an 8-hour sleep cycle, and if it's done in your bedroom, that's a third of your life. A third of your life. So even if you were just to take care of one room, if there's one room that you could take care of the room that you sleep in, because that's where you probably spend more of your life than anywhere else is in that bedroom. Well, Dr. Group, we thank you so much. We are looking forward to this continued partnership of us endorsing your products, and it's great to have your endorsement because you know that we absolutely love you. And we're going to continue to fight the good fight and just educate as many people as we can about the keys to not only improving their life, but being able to educate and help other people live a more meaningful, healthy life and protecting their vessel, that is their body.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. It's a great conversation. Love what you guys are doing. And thank you so much for the support. It's great to be able to collaborate with like-minded people who really have that mission and that passion to help heal the world. So thank you for everything you guys are doing as well.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much, and God bless.
God bless.